doesn't care about you. That's why you need a medical emergency kit. It contains life-saving medications like ivermectin, Z-Pak, and antibiotics. Stock them before they block them.
Good morning, everybody. I'm at the MVA. It's right behind me over here in Essex. This is the place where you have to come and pay a lot of taxes. You have to pay for an extra, you pay 6.5% excise tax for a car if you buy it. Registration is up 78% for a car, 78% over last year. The percentages have gone up to the point where it's so dramatic that it's affecting everybody. Actually, some of the registration plans have gone up so high that you could do a payment plan. You could do it with the MVA. And what's that tell you? We have the historic cars. Used to be that if it was 20 years old, you could get historic plates. Now it's 25. All these things are little slippage. It's a slippage that's cost everybody a lot of money. And the governor has said that there's really, I have a rate decrease, tax decrease. When you take fees and taxes, put them together, it's semantics. Some people say, well, you know, a fee is not a tax. Well, it comes out of your pocket. It is a tax. So we have that, and then the VEIP, the emission control. Emission control is up 114 or 117%, according to a couple people this morning, just verifying my numbers. And that's up to the extent that it's not only a big useless thing that we have to do, it's something where you have to take your car and go over to an inspection point and take your time out of a job, and a lot of people are working back here. Are we okay with this? You have to take off work and go over and get your car inspected. And most all of these cars are all safer, better, and they're not polluting like they used to back in the day.
Welcome to the SCIF. We are here at the Maryland State House for Ed Hale's launch for Maryland governor. He's going to be speaking shortly. A lot of confusion here, kind of, getting everybody in place. But we decided to do this today because Maryland is in trouble. We run to the sound of the guns. This is also live streaming on the Easton Gazette, eastongazette.com, our Maryland paper, which we're turning into our DC, Maryland go-to source for the area. So please check that out, especially if you're in Maryland. We're going to have a lot of news in the Maryland area. But we're going to let Ed give his reason why he wants to run for governor of Maryland against Wes Moore, who just oddly enough came down and made a big presentation of shaking his hand. He's the incumbent, and Ed is running as a Republican. So it's going to be an interesting race. We're going to stay on it and follow it. Maryland, as you know, is in big trouble, and just like other Democrat-run cities or states, and we want to help change that. So after this, we're going to run a presentation from Secretary of Hegseth at SpaceX with Elon Musk. I found that very interesting. Not so much news today, but more focused on what's going on out in the field as we do at CDM. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk. Hopefully he'll be ready to go. I may have to drop this break once we get going, but take a break now, and when we get back, we'll have Ed Hale speak.
I'm a naturopathic doctor. We are in the world of medicine very acquainted with many modalities, but probably the one most familiar with everybody would be two things: homeopathy and herbs. Mm-hmm. Maybe some nutrients too, vitamins, minerals, that kind of thing. Now, we do know a lot about the drugs because we have to find out what drug you're taking affects you and what nutrient it depletes you of, because most every drug pharmacy product will deplete something. So we have been trained, and we have a database that we can check into that says this is going to take your B12 away. The pharmaceutical company cannot patent organic substances made by the body. You're not born short of Advil. You're not born short of Ritalin.
Yeah.
You can be born short of insulin, right? Mm-hmm. The answers to staying healthy and keeping away from even SARS or any of those things getting into you is staying healthy.
Mm-hmm.
You and I get sick because our terrain gets out of balance. Well, that's the same thing in the soil. You and I are made from this thing called dirt. And when we get out of balance, we have the same thing happen. Weeds start to grow in our body. Right? And that's what we want in our body. We want nutrients that we don't understand how to get well enough yet, because our suppliers are lacking knowledge and nutrient density foods.
So this is what drove you to develop this, was your knowledge of this, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. You know that.
I'm excited to announce that we're having a huge sale on overstock and brand new products. For example, My Pillow Percale bed sheets, every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. Our Percale bed sheets are breathable, cool and crisp, and they're perfect for spring and summer. And check out Rev 7, the next generation of energy drinks. It tastes great, and it gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. Best of all, it's actually good for you. And for a limited time, try our 3-pack absolutely free. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs, or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes, only $29.88. Twin size, full size, queen size, king sizes, all $29.88. Inventory is extremely limited at this price, so order now.
Well, welcome back to the SCIF. We're about to have Ed Hale speak, launching his campaign for governor here in Maryland at the State House. So stay with us on that. Hopefully you can hear me and everything's working. We're learning and producing on the fly here at CDM. We've got a lot of press here, and we're kind of staying out of it. But I'm going to get a little closer because I'm not sure the camera's working. Okay, we're live, so that's working good. Okay, so Maryland, as you know, has had a lot of problems. You had the bridge in Baltimore getting hit by the ship, which collapsed the bridge. You've got massive crime in Baltimore. You got massive taxes, the complete Democrat playbook, which is destroying cities around the country, great American cities like Baltimore. And Ed is a businessman from the Baltimore area, had large businesses in the port area, and is very focused on getting that fixed and back on track for the people of Baltimore. So, and Maryland in general. So again, go to the eastonGazette.com, and you can find all of our coverage in Maryland. That paper is going to be ramping up. It's kind of been in beta now for some time, but it is now up and going. That's eastonGazette.com. They're still trying to get some of the banners set here, running a little late for this launch for Ed Hale's campaign for governor in Maryland. So we're kind of just waiting to see what happens here. In other news, later after this, we're going to run. Secretary Hegseth was at SpaceX and also at Lockheed Martin, and we're going to run the SpaceX speech because Elon Musk was there, and I found it very, very interesting. We'll be back tomorrow live, by the way, 10 a.m. Here comes Ed. Well, false alarm. I thought he was coming to the podium, but looks like he's just checking his notes. So some of the cameras are still getting set up, and I'm not sure what we're waiting for. Maybe a TV timeout, not sure. But anyway, Elon Musk was with Secretary Hegseth at SpaceX yesterday, and we found that a very interesting speech. Elon talked a lot about going to other planets, to other solar systems, etc. And Hegseth also talked at Lockheed Martin, which was one of the legacy contractors, which um, has not done a good job has produced a lot of very high-tech, effective weapons, but a lot of cost overruns and a lot of just watching what's going on here. A lot of cost overruns and a lot of time overruns, actually. It looks like the campaign is a little bit fighting the wind here. This is all kind of on the fly, I think, and getting their stuff set up. Maybe they just need to hold it for Ed. Anyway, he's just waiting. We'll see when he comes up. Ed is a former.
You guys ready? Okay. My name's Tyrone Keys, and I'm sure you all are aware of a recent University of Maryland survey that came out saying 33% of Marylanders are interested in leaving this state because of high taxes, lack of affordability. And that's 2 million people, our neighbors, our friends, our family, want to leave this great state because of those issues. So it's time for a change. We need someone who can turn this around, someone who is experienced at building, employing people, getting people to work, and making things affordable. And so that's why it is my honor and pleasure to introduce the next governor of the state of Maryland, Ed Hale.
Thank you, Tyrone. Thank you all for coming on a nice cold day out here. I just met Governor Moore for the first time. My grandson, Charlie's over at the Naval Academy in his third year. So it's nice to be in Annapolis with everybody. And I'll come in and let you know that I don't want to be too critical of things and be badmouth the governor. Problem. And you see over here, improving public safety, protecting victims' rights. That means getting the police paid properly, retaining the police, as opposed to what we've had, being mistreated. Electric bills. That used to be down a little bit lower on the list of things to be done. Now it's emerged to one of the bigger things. As a matter of fact, a lot of people think it's worse than the public issue of the state of Maryland. People think that because the governor had closed up all these electric plants, there were 6 of them, I think, at one point. 4 of them could be powered and restarted. They need to be done. We also need to start, we should start the process of the nuclear. We've got like 10 months before the election. Nuclear's got to start now. It can't be just, it was talked about last week. I think he talked about it a couple of weeks ago. We need to do this right now to get this started, because just waiting until November is not good enough. I think we have to do it now. I also believe that we should do fossil fuel plants to go around and build around the state, because we have plenty of gas and we have plenty of coal close by. And I know that is contrary to what the narrative is with the Democrats, but I believe the Green New Deal is done, and we have to take advantage of what we have, because people have the shock every single month. And apparently yesterday was a big day for electric bills going to people, because my phone has been blowing up. The people on my staff, it's been blowing up. The people know that these are really, really big problems. There are people here that have almost doubled over. It was cold the last month or so, and it is really going up. So people now are getting to the point where they either have the ability to stay at home and be cold, not have enough food, or not have enough money to go out and get your whatever you have to for your medications. It is getting to be a major problem. The cost of living here is bad. Tyrone mentioned that there are 33 or 30% of the people want to leave the state of Maryland. That's 2 million people. How do you do that? You can't have that happen here. People are going to leave, and they're going to leave this state and go where? Just across the border into Virginia. And so we have that situation where Virginia has a lot of sky, in the sky. You go over there, you see cranes up in the air, businesses are booming, taxes are not up, fees are not up, but they're going to move just across the border. You move into Delaware, same thing, less taxes. It's cheaper to live there. People are going to go, money is fungible. People are going to go where you can live cheaply and efficiently. Reducing taxes and fees. Let me see. Here, this is coming to a neighborhood near you. Virginia, you could go down there, go to Virginia, and get a tag for your car, and you're going to see these coming around in your neighborhood. They're going to be coming to you, they're coming in your neighborhood. All you have to do is check off, I have insurance. You don't have to show proof of insurance like you do here in the state of Maryland. And the fees have gone up dramatically to the extent that, it is an eye opener when you have to redo a car. If the reduction of the taxes and reducing the bureaucracy, I was told that when Governor Moore got in here, there were 5,000 jobs that were vacant that needed to be filled. He said, fill them all up. Somebody had the common sense to say, you know what, we got up to 3,500 and said, we better stop that. That's exactly what happened. The Key Bridge, that's near and dear to my heart. I grew up down around Bethlehem Steel. I worked at Bethlehem Steel when I was a kid. The Key Bridge was right there. Key Bridge is what I used to go down to the eastern shore to my farm. Key Bridge is what everybody uses to get down to Annapolis, from Pasadena to Glen Burnie. People are doing that, and they're doing it from the standpoint that, it's been very, very nice. You don't even think about it. When you see that thing collapse like it did, and you hear people say, standing there, the politicians stand there and say, oh boy, we're going to do this in a certain period of time for a certain amount of money. You just know that was not true. It was not doable. So what's happened is, this thing is doubled in price, and it's going to be built in 2030. who can say these things and do these things? This impacts everybody in the neighborhood. You have the black enclave of Turner Station, which I played football and baseball against all those guys there, and those families. That's right in my neighborhood. On the other side in Glen Burnie, you have people that really need this bridge and they need to get it done, and nobody is really paying attention to it. If the day that I get elected, I would go down to the base. I wouldn't do an inaugural party. I don't care about that crap. I don't. I would go right down to the Key Bridge, bring the bureaucrats, the engineers, and the contractors, and look at them and say, you tell me why you're not doing this. Get why this is not being done. This has impacted so many people, and you don't even care. People don't even care. And it makes no sense to me that this is allowed to go along like this. I am not running for anything except for governor of the state of Maryland. I'm not running for president like he is. He can say he's not, but you know he is. Everybody knows it. And to say this and think that it's not true is absurd. Everybody knows it. The budget, that you know, Governor Moore got I think it was a $5 million. It was $5 million. It was $5 billion surplus. Now it's a $3 billion deficit, with another one coming on board of 1.4. We need to stop this now and wade in and stop all the bureaucracy and stop doing whatever is being done to sustain all these employees that we have not doing a whole lot of work. That's my opinion. You know, I'm a business guy, and I would step in and I would change things. I would make sure that we go and look at the budgets, and we would fix the departments that really need to be done, that need to be called out, which brings me down to, how about vehicle admissions? I said before at a press conference, nobody's got a car that's going to fail that anymore, because all of the cars are now fuel efficient, and they're energy efficient. They're energy efficient, and the particulates that have been there that were in 1984 are not there anymore. We have cars that are clean, so we don't need this. If you have to get your car inspected, and which I just got one the other day, I just got a notification to go get it done. I have to take the time to go to someplace off my job, my work, to go do that. And I just don't want to do it. What's the point? It is a money grab that should be stopped. I believe that should be eliminated. Last but not least, I want to make sure that the AAA bond rating, by the way, was sacrosanct with all the previous governors, everybody, even Governor O'Malley. It was important to keep that. This needs to be brought back into place again. We have to get that in place, because we're going to have to go out and borrow money to do road improvements and things like this. By the way, there's talk about want to talk about roads. The red line going through Baltimore City, going from Canton out to Social Security. That should not even be discussed anymore. That's ridiculous. Get articulating buses for a fraction of that and let them run across. If you need to traverse the city, do that. We can't afford this. Let's do things we can afford. Stop it and start to take the money that you're going to use for construction of a red line to go through the city. Use it to fix the roads. Our roads are crappy all over this state. We have to fix them up. I plan on being a pragmatic, common sense person that's going to hire good people to come in to be cabinet secretaries for me and the people below them. I want to make sure that if we do have people that are going to be working here, that we're going to have people that really are going to do their jobs and really care. And we're going to give a seat at the table for a lot of people that have been unheard for many, many years. For example, last week I got together with the watermen, the hunters, and also the farm bureaus. to get them together so that they have a seat at the table. They have been neglected forever, and they have not been heard. One of the guys that runs one of the bigger associations, the Watermen's Association, said, Governor Moore told him, he says, "You're my guy. I'm going to come to you if I need something, Mr. Newberry, to really find out about what has to be done in the natural resources and the Watermen's Association." Newberry called him like 10 times, and he's never returned a call. It's just, this is all talk. All this talk has to stop. Action has to begin. So I believe that I'm going to be doing that immediately. And I plan on telling everybody about these things when I get around the state and talk about this. Help is on the way. Thank you.
Okay, there you saw Ed Hale giving his speech. The audio wasn't that great, but I didn't expect that. But anyway, check out his platform, especially if you're in Maryland, somebody who wants to make some decisions and fix Maryland's massive problems with their deficit. He talked about the AAA bond rating. He talked about the high taxes, the troubles to get a vehicle registered, massive fees, people from Virginia coming in and taking, and living in Maryland, but going to Virginia without, all you got to do is say you have insurance and you can get a plate. And it's just a lot of things he listed. Let's see, reducing electric bills, improving public safety, and the Key Bridge was a big one, the one that was hit by the ship. All right, so we're going to take a break, and then we'll come back and we're going to play the speech with Hegseth and Elon Musk. I thought it was fantastic, so stay with us. We'll be right back.
Well, in the case of hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin, these are two medications that have been FDA approved for use in humans for decades. They are very, very inexpensive. Interestingly, available over the counter in almost every other country other than the US and Canada. You can just walk into a pharmacy and buy them like we buy Tylenol in much of the world because they're that safe. And we've known for decades that ivermectin has very strong antiviral properties. It has anti-inflammatory properties, and both ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine are what we call zinc ionophores. They help to move zinc from the bloodstream into the cell, which is where it needs to be in order to fight off a virus. So lots of application for these, and we have every reason to believe that those drugs also will likely have some efficacy against H5N1 or a number of other respiratory viruses that we may meet down the road.
If you haven't noticed, gold has reached a new high, all-time highs actually, and keeps going up every day. Why is that? It's because precious metals are a long-time historical store of value. And if you own a portfolio and you have assets in the fiat currencies, i.e. stocks, bonds, cash, or whatever, you're vulnerable to hyperinflation, which is coming as our debt explodes another trillion every 90 days. It's really scary. So how do you protect yourself? Go to Advisor Metals. If you look on any of our cdm.press sites, about halfway down, there's an ad for Advisor Metals. Click on it, fill out the form for your contact info, and Ira Bishotsky will contact you and talk to you. It's an easy conversation. There's no sales pitch. He's completely verified by us. He has a regulatory background we've checked into. We've checked with his bankers. We've checked with his IRA custodians for metals, and we can highly recommend Advisor Metals and IRA. So go to Advisor Metals. If you call them directly, tell them we sent you at CDM, and he'll definitely take care of you. But protect your portfolio because you really need to. It's coming. Thank you. Welcome back to the SCIF. Let's go to Secretary of War Hegseth and Elon Musk. yesterday's speech. Very fascinating.
Hello. Hello, everybody. All right, welcome to Starbase, Texas. This is a city, it's actually legally a city, that thanks to the hard work of the SpaceX team, we built out of nothing, and is now a gigantic rocket manufacturing system. So, and for people out there who are curious to see it, we're actually on a public highway, so you can come and visit and drive down the road and see the epic hardware. So I think this is the first time that a rocket development program has actually been on a public highway. So you can come and see the epic stuff. We're honored today to have the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, and much of the senior leadership of the Pentagon here. It's an honor to have them visit. We just did a tour of the factory, and I think it really helps illustrate how manufacturing and manufacturing at scale is critical to the strength of America. So, and I'll tell you a little bit just about the purpose of SpaceX. It's like we want to make Star Trek real. Okay? We want to make Starfleet Academy real, so that it's not always science fiction, but one day the science fiction turns to science fact. And we have spaceships going through space, big spaceships, with people going to other planets, going to the moon, and ultimately going beyond our star system to other star systems, where we may meet aliens or discover long-dead alien civilizations. I don't know, but we want to go and we want to see what's happening, and we want to have epic futuristic spaceships with lots of people in them, traveling to places we've never been to before. Yeah, that's that's the goal. And that's what I think the public thinks of when they think of Space Force. So on that note, I'd like to introduce the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth.
Thank you. Thank you very much. How about this? Star Trek real. Star Trek original. Yes. Appreciate it. I love it. Well, what a tour. What an opportunity to be here at Starbase, Texas, with Elon and the SpaceX team. There's nothing like this in America. There's nothing like this in the world. And what you have built and what you will build here is a testament to the strength of American ingenuity and American invention. So I want to thank all of you, all the folks out here for having us today. Elon, thank you so much for hosting us, for vision you have for this company, the vision you have for our country, the vision you have for American innovation. I could not think of a more fitting venue to continue our Arsenal of Freedom tour and to outline today the future of technological innovation at the War Department. Those of you here at SpaceX will appreciate this, knowing that as World War II was ending, the Secretary of War and Secretary of the Navy wrote to the National Academy of Sciences and declared that scientific research was essential to our national security. To ensure continued preparedness, they wrote, the research scientists of the United States must be called upon to continue in peacetime some substantial portion, that of which they have made so effectively during the stress of the present war. The competitive time element in developing those weapons and tactics may be decisive in future. You see, those secretaries of war and Navy many decades ago recognized the importance that innovation and readiness holds for our national security. They knew what was at stake. the very freedoms of the country we hold dear. All across the United States today, extraordinary innovation is unlocking new possibilities for freedom, prosperity, and security. Now, the question before us is not whether or not the most powerful technologies of this century will reinforce free societies. Is it going to reinforce our free societies, or will that technology be shaped and twisted by malign regimes that seek to use those technologies for control and coercion? You see, over the past several months, I've talked at length about the challenges of the War Department to address current and future missions, all in service of meeting the needs of the 21st century warfighter. I'd like to think we've already made dramatic progress in the Pentagon's culture by reviving the warrior ethos, and we're moving out quickly and transforming our acquisition ecosystem as well. But today is about how we supercharge innovation at the War Department for the era ahead. Innovation is happening at a pace we can't even foresee, and we need the entire enterprise, our enterprise, to embrace the urgency required for this moment. Since the end of the Cold War, the defense industrial base in our country has consolidated. This makes it difficult, if not impossible, for new creators of technical innovations to win business at our department. The result is a risk-averse culture that prevents us from providing our warfighters with the best resources that America has to offer. That ends today. Simply put, the United States must win the strategic competition for 21st century technological supremacy. Artificial intelligence, autonomous systems, quantum, hypersonics, and long-range drones. If you talk to Elon Musk long enough, he will tell you how important hypersonics and long-range drones are. Is 100% correct. Space capabilities, directed energy, and biotechnology are the new areas of global competition. The challenge is that our legacy approach to technological development assumes that technology moves in a predictable, linear conveyor belt from lab to design to development to prototype to test and qualify to program of record, and can only be provided by a handful of companies that have consolidated dramatically. Now, while this system provided us with the weapons that won the Cold War, it is archaic and inconsistent with the novel threat environment that we face today. At its core, this old approach has the hubris to assume that you can easily predict the future, that you can foresee how an invention becomes a weapon in 8 easy steps, 3 decades from first to. Our system cannot keep treating innovation as a decades-long, one-way march that dramatically reduces who and what is able to run the gauntlet at our department to get the capability to the warfighter. Until this administration, the Trump administration, the department's process for fielding new capabilities had become just one more post-Cold War peace dividend relic that has not kept up with the times. Worse than that, we've done nothing but add layer upon layer of committees and councils that coordinated but never decided. We created endless projects with no accountable owners. We have high churn with little progress and few outputs. That sounds about like the exact opposite of SpaceX. We treated innovation as a box to check, not an outcome to deliver. In short, when it comes to our current threat environment, we are playing a dangerous game with potentially fatal consequences. We need innovation to come from anywhere and evolve with speed and purpose. You see, America's open scientific community is an advantage authoritarian regimes cannot replicate. They can read our scientific papers and copy our invention or distill our AI models, but they cannot replicate a culture like this one of open and distributed research. We need to be blunt here. We can no longer afford to wait a decade for our legacy prime contractors to deliver the next perfect system, only to find that it's delivered years behind schedule and cost 10 times what it should. Winning requires a new playbook, Elon wrote it with his algorithm. Question every requirement, delete the dumb ones, and accelerate like hell. That's why I want to make clear across the War Department and for our partners in the private sector that our Undersecretary of War for Research and Engineering, Emil Michael, right here in the front row, is the War Department's single chief technology officer, one CTO for the entire enterprise. Novel concept. As the sole CTO, Emil will set the technical direction, lead the innovation ecosystem that will welcome progress from anywhere it resides. And he'll tell me, face to face, every day, and frankly, whether we are gaining or losing the technology and innovation competition. He'll have the decision authority and will lead through rigorous evaluation with a focus on real, measurable outcomes. Now, Congress, and we have many members of Congress with us here today, will be our partner in this. By affirming the Undersecretary's role as the department's CTO, we're carrying out the core mission for R&E that Congress assigned in statute. The last defense bill expanded the CTO's authorities, including the power to direct military departments and other components to align around clear, innovative outcomes. We will use them to deliver those outcomes with speed and urgency. An empowered CTO will inject a disruptive mindset directly into our systems, directing the power of America's world-leading scientists and entrepreneurs, our cutting-edge lab, tech ecosystem, and our capital markets to build what the warfighter needs, but to do so better, faster, and cheaper. And Emil is the right man to do it. You see, this isn't about military structure. This is about building an innovation pipeline that cuts through the overgrown bureaucratic underbrush and clears away the debris, Elon style, preferably with a chainsaw, and to do so at speed and urgency that meets the moment. As I've said repeatedly to every audience, the President of the United States and I have the backs of our warfighters who have to make split-second life and death decisions on the battlefield. I want this audience to know we also have the backs of innovators who share that very same urgency. American taxpayers, especially those parents whose sons and daughters have answered the call to serve, I swore in 10 more today, demand, and I demand, and we demand, that we arm our warfighters with overwhelming and lethal technology right now, not a decade from now. In modern warfare, the fastest innovator and iterator will be the winner. And no one can out-innovate an American entrepreneur who has been liberated from the constraints of stifling bureaucracy. That old era ends today. We are done running a peacetime science fair while our potential adversaries are running a wartime arms race. Right now, from garage startups to factory floors to boardrooms across our nation, the question of how to harness innovation coming out of America's AI ecosystem is front and center, and rightfully so, because it has the potential to disrupt and transform every area of human endeavor. The same is true in the Department of War. President Trump's AI executive order spells out our approach succinctly. It is the policy of the United States to sustain and enhance America's global AI dominance in defense of human flourishing, economic competitiveness, and national security. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the War Department's mission. We must ensure that America's military AI dominance so that no adversary can exploit that same technology to hold our national security interests or our citizens at risk. America first in every domain. Last month, I took the first step toward changing how the department does business with frontier AI technologies when we announced the rollout of Gen AI with our partners from Google. And I want to thank the Google team for leaning forward and making the investment to get their Gemini app to about 3 million users in the War Department. But today, we're excited to announce the next frontier AI model company to join GenAI.mil, and that is Grok from xAI, which will go live later this month. So I want to thank you, Elon, team, for looking forward with us on this as well. Very soon, we will have the world's leading AI models on every unclassified and classified network throughout our department. Long overdue. To further that, today at my direction, we're executing an AI acceleration strategy that will extend our lead in military AI established during President Trump's first term. This strategy will unleash experimentation, eliminate bureaucratic barriers, focus on investments, and demonstrate the execution approach needed to ensure we lead in military AI and that it grows more dominant into the future. In short, we will win this race by becoming an AI-first warfighting force across all domains, from the back offices of the Pentagon to the tactical edge on the front lines. The catalyst for this acceleration will be 7 pace-setting projects focused on mission threads across warfighting, intelligence, and enterprise missions, each with a single, accountable leader, aggressive timelines, and measurable outcomes that answer a familiar question, Elon. What have you accomplished this week? This is the execution standard for AI-first transformation. Each of the 7 pace-setting projects will use the following model. 1 owner who reports monthly on their progress. These projects will not be run in a vacuum, but will work directly with warfighters and transition partners to ensure we incorporate real-time operational feedback. We expect rapid iterations with failure accelerating the learning curve. These are not science projects. They are not governance boards. They are the execution standard for the entire department. We will not win the future by sprinkling AI onto old tactics like digital pixie dust. We will win by discovering entirely new ways of fighting. That's why we will run continuous experimentation campaigns, quarterly force-on-force combat labs with AI-coordinated swarms, agent-based cyber defense, and distributed command and control, pushing the envelope, learning from failure at every stop, which is exactly what this place does. You see, our department doesn't accept failure in the past, and so we never fail, which means we never learn. We're flipping that dynamic. Before talking about the new rules of the game, let me talk about a little bit more about our new team, because no game can be won without the right team. And we're proud to announce that Mr. Cameron Stanley has been appointed the new Chief Digital and Artificial Intelligence Officer, CDAO, of our War Department. Cam will be leading a new team, many of whom have foregone, thank you, or left lucrative careers at pioneer companies such as AWS, Databricks, Palantir, and Meta to join the fight. This team will not only provide a catalyst for change in this department, but will also act, we believe, as a magnet for other talented members of the tech community who want to join us in doing the mission-focused work to protect our great republic. So let's talk about the new rules. First, speed. Speed wins. Speed dominates. Our enterprise currently operates on staffing and committee cycles measured in months and years, and that's unacceptable. Military AI is going to be a race for the foreseeable future, where the risks to U.S. national security of moving too slowly outweigh the impacts of imperfect alignment. To do this, Cam and his team at CDAO will define AI deployment velocity for all the pace-setting projects in the next 30 days and report at least benchmarks for programs across the department. Second, bureaucratic blockers. If you work with Elon, you know he finds the blockers and you remove them. We will take a wartime approach to people and policies that block this progress. You want to block? You work somewhere else. Barriers to data sharing, authority to operate, or ATOs, test and evaluation, and contracting are now treated as barriers. That's why today at my direction, I'm establishing a barrier removal SWAT team under R&E with the authority to waive non-statutory requirements and escalate to our great Deputy Secretary Steve Feinberg anything that slows down the acceleration of AI capabilities. Third, compute resource. We will invest heavily in expanding our access to AI compute from data centers to the tactical edge, and will tap into hundreds of billions of dollars in private capital flowing into American AI. President Trump's executive order has directed us to build data centers on military land and to work with the Department of Energy to ensure that we dramatically increase the number and breadth of resources needed to power this computing infrastructure. We will work together with our partners at Google and AWS and Oracle and SpaceX, Microsoft, and others on these initiatives. Fourth pillar, especially in this room, you'll understand it, is talent. We will use every hiring and pay authority available to us to bring the best American technical talent and reward effective AI transformations by our workforce. We're going to heavily leverage President Trump's Tech Force initiative to bring in the best and brightest from industry and academia. With people like Elon, David Sachs, Emil, Mike, and others from the entrepreneurial and business world already in government, we have shown that we can and that we must enlist the world's leading talent in this cause. Fifth, responsible AI. Today, I want to clarify what responsible AI means at the Department of War. Gone are the days of equitable AI and other DEI and social justice infusions that constrain and confuse our employment of this technology. Effective immediately, responsible AI at the War Department means objectively truthful AI capabilities employed securely and within the laws governing the activities of the department. We will not employ AI models that won't allow you to fight wars. We will judge AI models on this standard alone. Factually accurate, mission relevant, without ideological constraints that limit lawful military applications. Department of War AI will not be woke. It will work for us. We're building war-ready weapons and systems, not chatbots for an Ivy League faculty lounge. Sixth, and finally, data. AI is only as good as the data that feeds it. And the US military has an asymmetric data advantage from 2 decades of military and intelligence operations that no other military in the world can replicate. But right now, we are underutilizing this advantage. Too much of our data is stranded. It's stuck in bespoke program databases, locked behind Title 10 or Title 50 stovepipes, invisible to operators, engineers, and industry who can help us exploit it with winning speed and scale. And that's why today, at my direction, CDAO will exercise its full authority to enforce the DOW data decrees and make all appropriate data available across federated IT systems for AI exploitation, including mission systems across every service and component. Each service secretary and component head will submit catalogs of their current data assets to the CDAO within 30 days. Denials of data access requests will be reported to the CTO within 7 days, and they better have a good justification. Today, I'm also directing the Undersecretary for Intelligence and Security, Brad Hansel, to ensure appropriate data from across our intelligence enterprise receives the same treatment and can be fully leveraged to warfighting capability development and operational advantage. AI is only as good as the data that it receives, and we're going to make sure that it's there. Persistent barriers to data access will be escalated to the Deputy Secretary of War for resolution, with authority to reassign or terminate personnel or withhold funding from non-compliant activities within the statutory limits. We'll be clear here. As I said, data hoarding is now a national security risk, and we will treat it that way. AI is an important part of the future, but here's another truth that we've ignored for too long. Beyond AI, we've treated every other kind of innovation as if they're the same. As you know, they're not. We need to break down unnecessary barriers to rapid technological development, adoption, and transition. Some of you will remember this. A generation ago, one of my predecessors, in a dinner speech to industry, now infamously known as the Last Supper, advocated for the consolidation of our defense industrial base. Consolidation created a closed innovation ecosystem dominated by just a handful of prime contractors. The results have been characterized by soaring costs, sluggish delivery, and stagnant innovation. That's what President Trump's recent executive order on the defense industrial base and defense companies seeks to address. It makes crystal clear that the priority of the legacy prime contractors must be our nation's national security, not the next earnings call. That means less focus on stock buybacks and more investment on the men and women on the factory floor. It means less stockholder dividends and more investment in infrastructure, plant, and equipment. Today, that old era comes to an end. The Department of War is reopening to the disruptive energy and agile creativity of our nation's tech startups, funded by our world's leading capital markets. I'm directing my Chief Technology Officer to lead this charge, and his wingman, as always in this effort, Undersecretary for Acquisitions and Sustainment, Mike Duffy. For too long, we organized our ecosystem around stages and silos, labs over here, so-called rapid units over there, commercial outreach in a different building or on another coast altogether, and warfare fighters somewhere at the end, almost an afterthought. The result is duplication, drift, and confusion. And like the acquisition process we are already fixing, the creation of organizations to work around the problems in the innovation ecosystem rather than taking the bold steps needed to transform it. We created an old ecosystem to get around the actual system. No more. Every dollar of innovation, whether it may be in a lab or a startup or a classified shop, must exist to deliver one of three things: game-changing technology, scalable products, or new ways of fighting. If it's not doing one of those three things at speed, it will be realigned or it will go away. And that's why I'm entrusting Emil as the CTO to ensure that this directive across the department is rapidly carried out. Emil, you're going to be busy. Again, what we're talking about today is a transformation in the way we think about innovation. In requirements reform led by Mike Duffy, we killed an old model, a sclerotic model, and rewired the department so that problems, money, and experimentation live in one system. In acquisitions reform, we killed the defense acquisition system and created accountable portfolio acquisition executives, making speed to delivery, our organizing principle. We're going to do the same for technological innovation. That's why today, at my direction, we are ending the alphabet soup of councils that meet and brief and write memos and schedule meetings, but never decide and rarely, if ever, accelerate outcomes. Effective, the Defense Innovation Steering Group, the Defense Innovation Working Group, and the CTO Council are disestablished and abolished. In their place, the CTO will convene a CTO action group to assist him in making decisions, clearing bureaucratic blockers, holding leaders accountable, and most importantly, quickly delivering new technologies to our warfighters. Every organization in this ecosystem must earn its place by delivering warfighting advantages faster than our adversaries can adapt. No sacred cows, no exceptions. To back up the CTO, today at my direction, we are realigning two pillars of the War Department's innovation ecosystem. The Defense Innovation Unit, or DIU. Since its establishment 10 years ago, DIU has lived through shifting reporting structures and uneven administrative support, doing great things, but at times its portfolio overlapped with other parts of the department. Effective today, DIU is designated a Department of War field activity, providing exceptional tech scouting, rapid contracting, and other common services to the department, executed at commercial tempo. The CTO will provide support to DIU for administrative and resource matters and ensure that the unit's efforts fit into the department's innovation priorities. The director of DIU will also continue to report directly to me as a principal staff assistant and carry out its statutory duties. And I'm appointing Mr. Owen West, executor of my Drone Dominance Initiative, as the director of DIU starting in March, when the FY27 budget cycle firms up. As a Marine with lots of combat experience, Owen will bring a warfighter's mentality to DIU's core mission of transitioning technology to our troops. Owen also has the private capital experience needed to ensure DIU remains working hand in glove with the venture and investor communities and continues to on-ramp new entrants into the War Department. Owen led DOGE at DOW, the most effective DOGE effort across the administration, saving tens of billions of dollars for our department, and now he will lead DIU. Our world-leading defense tech, billions of dollars in capital. They're reshaping warfare through the proliferation of high-tech, low-cost technologies. DIU's mission is to accelerate the adoption of this commercial technology to help convert entrepreneurial products into tangible combat power. Second, the Strategic Capabilities Office, SCO, is also being designated a Department of SCO will maintain focus on its core mission of identifying and prototyping disruptive applications of new systems, the unconventional uses of existing systems, and near-term technologies to create strategic effects. SCO will continue to maintain its statutory direct reporting relationship to the Deputy Secretary, but will be operationally realigned under the CTO to eliminate duplication and ensure the relentless daily focus on delivering near and medium-term capabilities to our warfighters. Relentless urgency and focus is our focus. Today's defense innovation ecosystem is too fragmented, resulted in insufficient technology transition to the warfighter. We address some of this in the transfer we are making in the acquisitions ecosystem, but it also needs to enter the innovation ecosystem. For too long, and I know a lot of you have experienced this, and others we met with in Los Angeles recently, the experience of founders and entrepreneurs has been running endless laps around the Pentagon, looking for the right office, the right program, and the right motivated sponsor. And too often, new entrants are ultimately stymied by the bureaucracy. We hear it time and time again. They don't know where to go, and then when they go to that place, it's not the right place to go. Then they go somewhere else that didn't want them in the first place, and the lap continues. For example, SpaceX and Palantir to sue the Department of War just to get a shot at competing for department contracts. The bottom line is that new entrants need both a shot on goal, but also faster yeses and faster nos from the department, rather than being strung along with a never-ending stream of rudderless maybes. At the Secretary of War level, we will replace the existing maze into two clear channels. The Mission Engineering and Integration Activity, MIA, will tell industry what problems we're trying to solve, and DIU will help program offices adopt what industry has already built. This will help get to faster yeses or faster nos. Clear guidance, clear guide rails, clear demand signal, which is what industry and capital expects. Now, this isn't just an Office of the Secretary reform. The services need to transform their innovation ecosystems as well: the Army, the Navy, the Space Force, the Marine Corps, and the Air Force. That's why today, at my direction, our military services will take the following actions. Within 90 days, the secretaries of the military departments will brief the CTO on service innovation plans how they will consolidate, streamline, and refocus their labs, research expertise, experimental units, and rapid capability offices around 3 innovation outcomes. Our 60+ labs are a national asset, but it's past time they were organized to deliver and not just to discover. And beginning with the fiscal year 2028 budget, every portfolio acquisition executive will fund an innovation insertion increment, III, dedicated money for the last mile, integration test and rapid insertion of validation solutions into fielded systems. Innovation cannot be centralized and should not be. In fact, hope it's okay I name them, but just this past weekend, I received an email, a proposal from an Army captain named Drennan Green, who I've known for a while. He had a detailed plan about how he and his unit wants to deploy AI. Innovation can and should come from anywhere and anyone, wherever those best ideas reside. We're going to bring that good captain in and hear from him. How can we apply those tools in his unit and other units, bottom up, not just top down? The military services and program offices own last mile. And to that end, I'm directing the services to establish that III, innovation insertion increment, within the budgets of all program portfolios. This will ensure that they have funds set aside to quickly integrate innovations during weapons system development. This will be a tool to free new, innovative, cutting-edge weapons and improvements from the constraints of yearly budget cycles. Here you iterate in terms of hours and days, maybe weeks. In Washington, we talk in terms of months, years, and oftentimes multi-years. It's too slow. The CTO ecosystem will give them the supply. Services are contributors to this ecosystem, not bystanders. They must deliver outcomes. They must deliver overmatch. And speaking of budgets and budget cycles, you may have seen President Trump's truth post of a few days ago. He's proposing a $1.5 trillion budget for the War Department in fiscal year 27. This is by far the most ever in our history, a historic and generational investment in American security. We will not squander this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to rebuild our military. Think of what this means as our efforts to transform the department come fully online. You add resources and you streamline process, speed to deliver those capabilities to the warfighter, an invitation to new entrants into the defense industry, which we need so badly, and an embrace of AI and other cutting-edge defense tech. All of this will make our forces more agile, more lethal, and more ready to deter and, if necessary, win a future fight. This is what President Trump demands, and this is what we will deliver. This feeds into a next area we need to fix. You see, reorganizing and a new attitude are not enough to truly unlock innovation for the warfighter. Our department needs to capitalize on a key advantage America has over her adversaries: the broadest and deepest capital markets and the best entrepreneurial talent in the world. You know this, capital is the lifeblood of American innovation. And therefore, to be successful, we need to embrace the role in our department of private capital, which we have not done for far too long. We need to be a better partner for private capital, so we can help accelerate capital formation in key areas and lower the risk for the department. Private capital is already helping to solve a major problem that President Trump has directed us to confront and solve across this administration: ending our reliance on competitors for access to rare earth and critical minerals. The Office of Strategic Capital, or OSC, under the leadership of David Lorch, is spearheading those efforts and delivering as we speak. In the past 5 months alone, the OSC team has deployed over $4.5 billion in capital commitments as part of closing 6 critical mineral deals, all of which will help free the United States from market manipulation. Crucially, OSC's strategy relies on crowding in private sector investors, from this VC community to our country's largest financial institutions. The 6 OSC deals to date include nearly $5 billion from our private capital partners. OSC has closed most of those deals in less than 30 days, which is Trump time for complex transactions. As fast as it gets. I mean, that is warp speed in Washington. All of our investments serve one purpose: deliver faster for the warfighter. Now, some will want to cynically posit, is this just another innovation reorganization? Another set of strategies that brief well but don't actualize? No. This is the third leg of a single war plan. In fundamentally transforming our acquisition ecosystem, we killed JSIDs that focused only on process and turned the JROC into a body that ranks real-world joint operational problems, not paper requirements. We created MIA on experimentation campaigns to solve these problems. We killed the old defense acquisition system and created the warfighting acquisition system to focus on speed, risk, and accountability. With the AI strategy and innovation ecosystem transformation that we have just outlined, we are welding that third piece into place. The CTO, DIU, SCO, DARPA, CDAO, and OSC are no longer a loose federation. They are the Office of the Secretary of War's Innovation Operating System. DARPA delivers game-changing technology innovation and strategic surprise. DIU delivers scalable products. SCO delivers new ways of fighting. And CDAO and OSC provide the data, test, and capital to move at wartime speed. As of today, they are an ecosystem, an arsenal of ideas and action for the arsenal of freedom, wired directly into requirements, portfolios, and production. Game-changing technology, scalable products, new ways of fighting, all three moving at wartime speed. Problems drive experimentation, experimentation flows to prototypes, prototypes flow to our program executives flow these to production, production flows to the warfighter, and the cycle never stops, always iterating. One system, one purpose, speed to the fight. We are preparing to win the future because we know, and you know, for the free world, for the West, the stakes could not be higher. Before this administration, our adversaries may have thought they finally broke American power. They're wrong. They do not have our entrepreneurs. They do not have our capital markets. They do not have our combat-proven operational data from 2 decades of military and intelligence operations. They do not have our hard-won classified technologies. They do not have the ingenuity and tenacity of American warfighters who refuse to lose. They don't have a military that can go 37 hours to downtown Tehran or downtown Caracas without being seen in the process. You see, but none of that matters, however, if we suffocate those advantages under a stifling bureaucracy. That's why we're unifying the innovation ecosystem, making this an AI-first department, and holding every lab, every program accountable, all while pushing every officer to deliver warfighting advantages faster than others can adapt. We will not stop. We will not back down. We will forge the new arsenal of freedom with our partners in industry and the private sector. We believe the future will be shaped by those who lead in technology and innovation. We don't believe, we know. Those who fervently believe in freedom and the Western tradition, like we do, must be those leaders. If not us, if not America, if not the West, then who? And if not now, it will be too late to maintain that advantage. This is not reform for the sake of reform. It never has been. This is about whether our warriors fight with yesterday's tools or they fight overmatching our adversaries using tomorrow's technologies. We know the threat, we know the opportunity, we know what must be done, we share the urgency. Now we will do it, and we must do it at wartime speed. Thank you. God bless you. God bless this company that you've built, and may God bless our great republic. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mike is muted. Hope you enjoyed that speech. We're on location in Maryland, but we will be back tomorrow live on the SCIF with guests, likely Pete Blaber and the Ukraine SITREP. A lot of information to get out tomorrow. Thank you for bearing with us today, and we will see you next time on the SCIF. Thank you.